Well, hello and welcome back to the masterclass for all of you average, ordinary, everyday fools, just like me, on the old Takeuchi TL V2. If you watched the last video, you saw that we hooked up the computer, found out that we were only running on 2 cylinders on that Takeuchi, and we sent the injectors off and had them tested. Cost me $200 for that. It turns out the 2 injectors or the 2 cylinders that we knew weren't working, well, neither were those injectors. So, because we can't afford just to take everything to the shop like some of the people out there, and I know there's a lot of you who are right there with me. Well, we went ahead and did our best online research, and hopefully it pays off, but let me be your test dummy. So, what we did, we got on eBay, and we ended up ordering 4 new injectors, because if you get them through Takeuchi, $1,200 a piece, I don't think so. We paid around $1,400–$1,500 for a full set of 4 that came over from China. And I've got them sitting here so you can compare them. And if I just get in here close, you can see this is our new injector. This is our old one. And hopefully you can see that the numbers at the top, 1J508-53052, matches our original sensor. Now down below that it does say Denso-0101 on the old one. Well, on the new one it does not say Denso, but it's got the 0101. And then the numbers below that, I believe those are the identification codes for the sensors themselves. Now, when you get this, if you order injectors like I did, I should say, it's going to tell you right up front, caution, registering the injector ID code. It says when replacing the injector, it is necessary to register the ID code printed on the upper part of the injector with handheld tester in the engine ECU. And then it follows and it says if the ID code of the newly installed injector is not properly registered, rough idling, abnormal noise, or other symptoms may occur. It says refer to the applicable engine repair manual for how to register. Okay, so it said it was on the upper portion of the injector. Well, here's the deal. On the upper portion of the injector, the new ones and the old ones, they've got these clips up here. And what I noticed, at least on my new injectors, the ID codes that are there, they are exactly the same from injector to injector. But on the side of the injector, this bottom number here, they are different for each injector. Now, when I looked at the plastic tops on the old injectors, which I just pulled off, so I don't know what went where, but these numbers are different from piece to piece. And so it really doesn't matter. I will take a picture of this plastic piece up here with the number on the new ones. But most importantly, and what I wrote on each box, number 1 cylinder, this is this bottom number on here that is different from injector to injector, and obviously new. And then below that, I wrote down the number off the old injector, hence the old/not working. If you remember, cylinders number 1 and 4 were not working, 2 and 3 were, so I labeled each box accordingly. But what we need to do first, before we even get started, is I need to super clean off the top of the head and down in where the injectors go. So thankfully, we just got the compressor wired the other day, and we got to do a whole shop tour coming up soon. But, you know, we've got so much going on. We had 2 trees dropped out here this morning, and well, yeah, you could cut those up for firewood, but we can't move them in big chunks without this here machine running. And we don't want to use the whole trunk for firewood because we got a sawmill and we got the sawmill shed. So it's important that we start getting this machine put back together. I am waiting, I think, on the bottom valve cover seal, which is pretty important. So aside from putting the injectors back in and the fuel rail, that's kind of a necessary part coming up soon. But what we're going to do today is we're going to get the head cleaned up, maybe, possibly, get the new injectors installed. Just the injectors, and get them mounted. And we need to check on the torques on the keepers for those. So I will show you the keepers that hold those injectors down are right here. So pretty simple setup. Look, folks, Not everybody can afford to pay high dollars to get all your work done for you, right? I know that's where we're at. We have so many different hobbies and things that we want to do. If you have mechanical ability, this is something you can do. But there again, let me be the test dummy. We're going to get to work, see if we can't maybe get this back up and running. God bless you guys. Here we go. Okay, so at this point, we've got the surfaces cleaned off good for our sealing gaskets. I gently blew out this area. You got to be really careful. Obviously, this machine has been worked and it's dirty underneath, but long story short, make sure you prep this as good as you can. And now we're going to go ahead and head back to the injectors. We're going to start with number 1, which is way at the back, working our way 2, 3, 4. Lube up the O-rings, and I got something else to show you, and we'll get right to it. Okay, we're back here at the bench, and we got our old injector, our new injector, and what I did find out is that when I ordered these injectors, it's important to pay attention to detail. The old injector had this copper, call it a crush ring gasket, that was not included on the new injectors. I was able with a razor blade to be able to separate that gasket from the old injector. But at this point, we're going to lube up these O-rings, or the O-ring, I would say, and I will probably put a little dab of grease on that washer here so that it doesn't fall down when I install that, and we're going to go ahead and try to drop in the number 1 injector. All right, boys and girls, well, I got some information. We've got the injectors set in, but we need to torque the retaining nuts. It looks like here they're an M12. It's supposed to be torqued from 17 to 26 foot-pounds. I think we're going to find a happy medium, 21, 22, somewhere around there, but we're going to start off torquing them to 10 foot-pounds. And I'll just show you inside the cab here what we currently look like. This is the mess, if you're watching this video and planning on doing it, that you're going to be looking at as well. So these are the retaining keepers, or the retaining clamps. There's your 12mm nut. Again, we're just going to start off with 10 foot-pounds. I think these this return fuel rail, I believe is what that is. We'll probably just tighten those to, you know, you got to have a feel for this kind of stuff if you're turning wrenches. We're not going to break them off, I'm going to tell you that. But anyway, let's get to it. Okay, well, we got those retainer nuts torqued. We went to 20 foot-pounds. I felt that was enough. And then as far as that return line, again, we just kind of did that by the feel of hand. Those are small bolts that go through those, and you don't want to overdo it or you'll just snap them off, and then guess what? No fun. So currently we have the lower valve cover assembly off. I did go ahead and buy new seals. These seals are where the injector lines come through this lower valve cover and screw on to the actual injectors. Mine looked like they're in good shape, but if you got it tore down this far, why not? Also went ahead and cleaned up this entire surface. This one gasket is what's been holding us up for, well, good many days. First thing that was supposed to show up and last thing that did. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get these tapped out, get these new ones pressed in. You can tell these are the originals because they still got the paint on them. So we're going to be gentle about it, hopefully get those in quick, and then we will get our gasket installed. Okay, we can see we got all 4 of those seals changed out. A simple seal puller. They came out pretty nice and easy, but you know, you always damage them a little bit. Anyway, we got those in, so now it's time to prep for this gasket, and hopefully that goes well, and then we can go ahead and get this lower valve cover set back in place. Okay, well, you can see we got our seal in here. I was a little concerned at first when I was fitting it last night. It didn't seem like it was going to hold itself, but actually it compresses down in there pretty good. So we cleaned out those grooves, sprayed all those grooves out with brake clean, and if you just work your way around several times, that will seat really well and pretty consistently. So again, this is the gasket we were waiting on, and it's here. So at this point we can attempt to install this lower valve cover. The only thing that will probably give us a little bit of trouble is the injection pipe where it comes through here, because we didn't completely remove that assembly, because I think that would have been would have added several hours to our job to do it that way. We just got to try to pull that assembly away while we sit this down, and then We'll probably lube up each of these O-rings so that when they go back in, they turn easy, and we can get those screwed on to the injectors. Let's get to it. Okay, well, you can see I've got the lower valve cover set in place. It was a little bit of a pain. As you can see, all the injection pipes over here on the sides that go through the lower valve cover screw onto your injectors. Well, there again, because these weren't removed, it was a little bit of work just getting them out of the way enough to get this set down, but not a huge deal. So we're going to go ahead and drop in all our bolts. We'll torque those into place, and then probably one of the parts I'm looking forward to least is actually not only hooking these back up, but then on the back side I gotta get all those tightened up on the back side too, because I had to take it loose from both ends to create enough space, give me enough wiggle room. But that's what I'm going to do. Bolts connect to the injectors loosely, and likewise on the back side at the injection pump, and then we'll keep moving forward. Overall, going pretty smooth. You can do this too. Okay, well, I had to go back and watch my previous video. I wanted to make sure I had all these wires hooked up properly, and it's a good thing I did, because I had a couple of them backwards. But after watching the video, it kind of all makes sense, and I did find an error in the original video just because everything was dirty. But starting from number 4, 3, 2, 1, black green, black blue, black red, black and white. And that white one, well, initially, because everything was dirty, it looked brown. So anyway, that's where we're at. I snug these up again by hand. You don't over torque the stuff, because you just break it and then you're going to be so mad at yourself. So you got to have just that nice sweet spot. So they're tightened down. We can get our upper valve cover gasket put down, get that cover put back on, and then we'll go ahead and work on this part that I'm dreading just a little bit, getting all these screwed back to the injectors. Okay, let's just keep after it, folks. Okay, well, we got some good news at the moment. I was a little concerned, you know, after kind of maneuvering all those injector lines around, that I was going to have trouble getting them back on. The number 4 injector line back here, it's really hard to get to, but everything's threaded on good, tightened up good, and so very happy about that. And now, I left the top valve cover off because it gave me more clearance in that injector area, because I was a little concerned, but it all went smooth. Now I can get the gasket back, the new gasket down for the top valve cover, and get that installed, and then we'll just keep moving. So that's where we're at. All right, boys and girls, I tell you what, I know I say boys and girls a lot, but we're just out here, kids, playing in the wild. So you can see the top valve cover is mounted. The exhaust is mounted back up. This line that comes off the turbo to the radiator, it's installed, and I've got some really good news. I did find a bolt, this bracket I had taken out, I got back in, but I think everything's cinched back up, and I want to show you something. You can see how I have my exhaust mounted. There again, there was a lot more brackets and garbage in here when the factory exhaust system was installed, but this is what I had rigged up when I changed that out. I want to show you something. Oh, back door's going to shut. Boom! And stuff that I took out myself to do this job. Well, this big old monster bracket, well, I took it out, and the only thing that it was still being used for was to hold this one clamp. Let me take you around back. This line right here. So the clamp went around that, and it kept it from flopping around. I think I'm just going to use this bolt hole here and put a clamp down. So basically, I was able to eliminate that entire assembly. This is not needed. That was again part of that original exhaust, and so was this plate that I removed that went, get out of here, that went right up against the head. So I was able to get rid of a lot of garbage. In fact, there's another bracket right there I could take out, and I might, just so that you know, if we ever have to get back into this, it's just one less thing you're putting your body parts on, like your knees and stuff, that's pointing and jabbing at you, but it's back together. So I need to hook up the battery. We need to bleed off, I imagine, the fuel. You know, with diesels, if you run them out of fuel, yeah, you got to get all the air out of the lines. So we got to do that. But what we're going to do, once we have that done, is we're going to go ahead and try and start the machine. If you've been paying attention to the video at the very beginning when we're talking about the injectors, one thing they tell you at the factory, or if you take it to a dealership, is that, well, if you put new injectors in, you have to program them into the ECU. And on that paperwork I showed you at the very beginning, it flat out told you, if you don't do this, and they had capital letters in spots, it may rough idle or run rough or do all sorts of things. So before I program mine in, assuming I can do that with my computer equipment, we're just going to try and run the machine without programming those numbers in and just see what it does. Maybe the thing runs fantastic. And if it does, and we don't know yet, but if it runs great without individually programming in those injector IDs, that means for you guys and gals out there, you can go ahead and buy yourself a whole set of injectors for just about the price of one. Do this job yourself, save yourself a boatload of money, and even if you had to program those numbers in, you would still save yourself a boatload of money by doing this yourself. Now look, we haven't tried to start this machine yet. I might start this thing up and it might be a huge fail, but we don't know that yet, and so we're going to remain optimistic. Yeah, that's where we're at. So sure glad you've been watching. Hey, if you haven't already liked and subscribed to the channel, I'd sure appreciate it. We're trying to grow the channel out. We got lots of projects and fun stuff we like to work on, so if this video has helped you at all or given you a little bit of insight, I would greatly appreciate it if you'd go ahead and hit the like and subscribe, and better yet, on top of that, throw a comment in, because I think that helps a person gain traction here on YouTube. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get the key back in here, hook the battery up, see if we can't just crack the lines for the injectors to get some fuel going through them, get the air bubbles out. Let's see what happens. It's going to be awesome. I can guarantee it. The wife is down at the dock. She's hollering at me. The dogs have been watching the water like hawks. But I think she might have caught her first fish of the year. We got a nice breeze going today. It's actually a little hot now in this sweatshirt. But let's go see if we can, well, witness her first victorious catch of the year. Dogs, are you happy? I wonder. Now, what did you use for bait?
I used raw steak.
Raw steak. So let's see what likes to eat raw steak here in the pond. Well,
I've already seen it.
Oh, she saw it. It's not huge, but oh, it's a cat. That's a pretty decent catfish.
Yes, but the dogs want to catch it.
Yes. Should I put them in the kennel?
Probably.
Okay, dogs. Come here, puppies. Well, she can get the hook out of there. This guy can go back to enjoying his pond life until the next time we decide to eat him. It's all about having the right tools. You know, the wife, sometimes she gets a little excited. She probably didn't think she was going to catch anything, so
nope.
She didn't bring down any pliers or nothing. But she got it. That a girl. Have a good day, buddy. Thanks for hanging out. Nice job, sweetheart. Okay, well, we've been bleeding the injectors off. And I just decided I was able to crack 3 back here right before the injectors, but tighten those back up. And I just loosened these, which are easy to get to, 17mm on this Kubota, until I could see fuel leaking out though. So I just tightened them back up, waited till I could see good evidence of fuel being there. In fact, you can see down in there, I need to blow all that out, clean it up. But I think we're ready for our first test hit. I know I got fuel to the injectors. I believe everything's plugged back in. So I did go ahead and put the battery charger on because it was sounding weak when I was running the fuel pump to get this to bleed. So let's just back out of this machine. Oh, this is so uncomfortable. My legs are sore. Hey, mind you, before we do this real quick, I started this at sometime after 8 o'clock this morning as far as reassembly. Sure, I had the injectors in there and that return fuel rail but they weren't torqued down or anything, so essentially that's nothing. But it's I think it's about 1:30 in the afternoon, and I've not been overdoing it by any means. So I'm gonna stand up, we're gonna turn the key, and like I said, this is our first test hit without programming the injector. So if it starts at all, I'm going to be ecstatic. But if it starts and it actually sounds good, that's even better. And it's even better for you guys, because again, I pulled the injectors out, I took the numbers that were on those injectors, ordered them from China, and yeah, even in the instructions, we've gone over it. You got to program those in, supposedly. So anyway, let's stand up, let's crank it over, see if it cranks, which it should. If it starts, what does it sound like? This is a big moment for all of us. And by the way, before we do it, I'm not a diesel mechanic. I'm a jack of all trades. I work on everything. I'm a master of none. So I'm not an expert on this stuff. But if you got mechanical abilities, I'm telling you, at least what I did on this machine so far, while uncomfortable just because of the area I was working in, hasn't been that bad. But I gotta quit talking. I'm kind of excited to crank this over and just see what happens. So I'm gonna get myself up in the cab. I got my hand on the key and turn it on. Let the system, I can hear the fuel pump pumping, and let's just crank it, see what happens. No way! Yeah! What? Yeah! That's what this machine has never sounded this good. We haven't programmed the injectors in. Yes! Yes! Yeah! Oh my gosh. Okay. This thing, it sounds freaking amazing right now. I gotta check for leaks. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna shut her down, check for leaks. We don't have any leaks. We'll pull the cab back down and we'll actually rev it up and see what it sounds like. But there are no idling issues, as they warn you you might have if you don't program those in. This is a win. Yeah! That thing sounds so awesome. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to use this. So here's the other deal. Even once we're past, I got to rebuild the whole quick attach system. This is all hot garbage in here. I don't know if I talked about it, but back here, the water separator, it's I blew this off, but it gets coated and you can't see the float in here, so we're gonna get some parts to replace that. We're probably gonna put new fuel lines, just replace that stuff. The last thing we want to do is put all this time and effort into this machine and have it, you know, you've seen that happen. So anyway, that is awesome news. Not just for me, for you guys too. Well, I gotta tell you, we're a little bit down for the count right now. You saw I was a little bit overzealous, overexcited. Very happy that the machine started up the way that it did, and it did. It sounded awesome. Okay, so what you didn't see is that I ended up putting the cab back down on the machine, hopped in the machine, turned the RPMs up on it, and it went up and it sounded great, but I actually went to drive the machine and it felt super underpowered. If you remember again correctly, we were running off 2 cylinders before, but anyway, it felt underpowered, so I shut the machine down, lifted it back up, just wanted to check for leaks and whatnot. And I think where we're at right now currently with the machine is that I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that we didn't program the injectors in. I think you guys, honestly, if you order the right stuff, if you get your part numbers off the side of those injectors, and I'm going to show you on eBay where I ordered my stuff, I think you're fine. I think right now where I'm at, it's a fuel issue. I lost fuel. Cracked my lines back open. I'm not getting any fuel to those injectors. I don't think it's a computer control issue, because when you turn on the ignition, from your fuel tank on that Takeuchi machine, it goes straight to the water separator. It goes out the back of the water separator. There's an electric fuel pump that takes your fuel to your filters. And so I got fuel all the way to and through the filters and all the way up to the injection pump. But nothing's getting through at this point. Is the injection pump bad? I don't know. Is there a plunger in that injection pump that when you turn the key on, it's supposed to pull it out to allow the fuel to go through? Quite possible. Likely, I would almost say. I've been gone for a week, but that's what I got to check next. I got back yesterday, but it's been raining out and it's sloppy, and I can't be working on the machine when that's going on. So I wanted to make an end to this video showing you where I ordered my parts from. And then my GoPro handle with a battery pack in it took a crap on me. I think because I had it hooked to my GoPro Hero 11 Black, which may have ruined that. So currently I got you hooked up to a different battery pack on the old GoPro. And we're just going to go to, I'm going to go ahead and get on my eBay account. Do I have it up already? Yes. And so to end this video, the machine idled awesome. Man, it revved up awesome. Sounded great, but I think it was not getting enough fuel. And so we got to come up with that issue. So I'm not ready to say yet whether or not it's going to be important for you guys to program the ID codes off those injectors into the ECU on your machine. And I still don't know if I'm going to be capable of doing that with the computer equipment that I have. But what we do know is that the machine started, and you could definitely tell it was running on all 4 cylinders. So we're just going to do a quick price breakdown on the things that I ordered off eBay, and then you guys can decide for yourselves. And I would definitely, when I get video 3 out on this machine, I would check out that information because I'm going to try to have a little more detail in it. But as far as pricing goes, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the computer, but you can see our valve cover gaskets where the injector lines go in. We paid $40.65 for the 4 of those. HQ Motor Service is who I bought those from. The injectors themselves, I paid $1,386.19 for those, and actually after I ordered them, they dropped them down like $50 for a set of 4. So I mean, for under $1,400, you can get all 4 of those injectors, and I bought those by Wonder Wave with an extra E at the end. Wonder Wave E is what we're going to call it for the injectors off eBay. Go check them out. Just be mindful. Pull your injectors out, take the part numbers off the side of the injector, and that's how I was able to verify that, yes, these were the right ones for that machine. That was definitely helpful. There's our lower valve cover gasket that we had to wait, extra on. I ordered it through eBay because it was the cheapest at $15.49, and while it was, probably half the price of what I was going to find from other places, it took a while to get here, so that's something you got to think about. But hey, you never know when you order stuff if that's the way it's going to be. They ended up giving me an extra $5 off that gasket because it didn't show up on time. So we paid just over $10 for that gasket. So you know what? If you're not in a big hurry, don't worry about it. But that's where we're going to end the video. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you putting up with my shenanigans because there again, I was pretty excited when I heard that machine fire up because it never sounded like that. I'm going to have to order some camera parts and maybe a new camera, new handle, so that we can continue to get some, content out there. But God bless you guys. Remember, go out into the world and use your superpowers to the best of your ability to make the world a better place. And if you learned anything off this video, this was not a overly difficult job. And if you're going to take your machine to a shop to have them do the work, you're going to pay a lot of money for it. And you know what? Those shops, they deserve to make some money. But we're trying to figure out what is really necessary. There again, with this new computer-controlled equipment, are they overcomplicating it, or are they trying to push you so that you have to take it to a dealer to work on it? Yeah, they're probably doing that. But I think we're finding that with a little, I don't know, little motivation, you can go out there, you can do it yourself. And you know what? You're going to know your machine better if you do your own work. And I think overall, you're just going to be a much happier person. So God bless you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Be looking for part 3. We're going to make it happen.